What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Plus Money Sports Betting Podcast. My name is Q. I appreciate you tuning in as always. And if you're new to the show, you can find me on all socials at Bets by Q. Of course, this podcast is brought to you by Black Sheep Betting, where it is a dog's world. You will find two links in the description. One is for the VIP. That is just where I post all of my official plays. It is designed for disciplined bettors who are seeking value over volume. Okay. The second link in the description, that one is for the free Discord chat. It is hosted by my friend Will from the Double Fault Tennis Podcast. The Discord's always active. It's a place where people hang out. We drop plays, we sweat games, we celebrate wins, we cope with our losses together. Come join it. It's 100% free. All we do is talk sports around the clock every hour of every single day. We're closing in on 1,000 members. We would love to have you in there again. It's absolutely free. Just check out that second link in the description. Okay, let's get back on track. Let's get into today's card. I have a few plays for you. This is going to be a bit of a volume day for us, okay? But let's start here with the Bills versus the Texans. Look, like I said before, this game, I'm a Bills fan, so I try to be as non-biased as I possibly can. But this game is a little bit more interesting than the spread makes it seem. I'm still going to back the Bills minus 5.5. I know there's reverse line movement. I know the public is relying heavily on the Bills. I know it's a short week. I know it might be a overreaction spot to Josh Allen's 6-touchdown game. I know that Houston's defense is legit, top tier in EPA. But here's my biggest concern here. The Texans cannot run the ball at all. That's the blueprint that you need to beat this Buffalo Bills team. Look, nobody knows their team and their weaknesses better than their fans. We can't stop the run. The Bills cannot stop the run. And now we have a backup quarterback. Davis Mills has been playing well. Don't get me wrong. But if this game becomes one-dimensional, and I think it does, the Bills eventually just take control of this game. You add in the possibility of anytime you have a backup quarterback in, I know Davis Mills has been starting the last two games. I know they got 2 victories. But I always have to factor in, well, what happens if Davis Mills goes out in the first drive of the game? Who's our quarterback then? So now we're talking about a third-string quarterback, Graham Mertz out of the University of Florida. Very experienced college guy, never taken any reps in the NFL. He spent 4 years in Wisconsin, 2 years in Florida. His best year was, 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in 2023, but didn't even get to start for Florida last year, okay? So regardless for whether we see Graham Mertz or we get Davis Mills this entire game, it's a tough ask on a short week in Buffalo. Okay, that's my only point here as far as the backup quarterback goes. But, let's just assume that Graham Mertz comes into the game. What does this line find itself at then? 10.5? 9.5 at least, right? But anyways, I'm going to lay the 5.5 with the Bills. I think that they really do control this game. I'm going to tap into a couple of props as well. And I'm going to stick with what I've known and what we've talked about as, the Bills have had a lot of primetime games this year. So naturally, I don't bet my team if it's in the day games. But if it's in primetime, my hand is kind of forced to have to make a play because, I have the VIP. My reputation relies on primetime spots. This is where I crush it at. I try to take out all the bias that I can. But let's look at Tyrell Shavers, okay? He had a breakout game last week for the Buffalo Bills. And if you're a Bills fan, you know the hype that we've had around this guy since training camp. Hard worker, one of the fastest on the team. He's the vertical threat. We haven't been able to get him loose just yet, but no better time than the present, okay? His receiving yards today are set at 22.5 yards. I know that the corners for the Texans are top class corners. But Tyrell Shavers' average depth, per yards ran, he's gonna get this on one catch. I say we get at least 3 to 4 targets. All he has to do is bring in two, but he could get it in one. So I'm going to bet Tyrell Shavers over 22 and a half receiving yards. If you're one of those people that like to play player props and you have little extra units going into Thursday night, this might even be a ladder play. I mean, you got 40 yards sitting at almost 3 to 1, 50 yards sitting at, 5 to 1. So, but Tyrell Shavers, we're going to take it easy here. We're going to go 1 unit on his over 22 and a half yards. Lock it in. I'll see you at the counter. I'm also going to sprinkle a half unit on Khalil Shakir, anytime touchdown plus 350. A few reasons for this. One, the kid's incredible after the yak, and he always seems to show up in big games. And I think this constitutes as a really big game for Buffalo. Buffalo needs to stack some wins here as we focus in on divisional play coming up. But Khalil Shakir, him and his wife just they just had a brand new baby, so he's in that post birth bounce back spot. He's getting scheme touches. This whole receiving core feel like they're locked in right now and they're sharing the ball. They're super aligned. I think that we can get a touchdown from Khalil today at plus 350. We'll put a half unit on that. Okay, so 2.5 units in on the Bills game, 1 unit on the Bills to cover the 5.5, 1 unit on Tyrell Shavers over 22 and a half receiving yards, and a half unit on Khalil Shakir anytime touchdown. So half unit on the anytime touchdown, full units on the other two plays. Let's move into college hoops, okay? Got one play for you here. I'm on this New Mexico, Nebraska under 151 and a half. I think it's playable to 148. I really do. New Mexico has built a defensive identity under their new head coach. Top 35 in points per possession allowed, top 20 in turnovers faced. And then Nebraska, they've already held three of their first four opponents to under 66 points or fewer. Both teams playing at a really controlled pace, middle of the pack in pace. And Nebraska is 187th in possessions per game. New Mexico is 238th. It's not a track meet. Unders usually cash in these types of games. I do think that New Mexico catching 7.5 points, I think that they are a live dog, but they will have to win from the 3-point line. I'm not going to bank on that. Instead, I'm going to bank on the under here cashing two really slow-paced teams. They've got the defensive tools to make this a really interesting matchup. So give me the under 151, playable to 148 in the New Mexico, Nebraska college hoops showdown. All right. Now, remember we had a half unit on that touchdown for Khalil Shakir. Here's what I'm doing with the other half unit. Got two dogs in the NHL that I really like today. Okay. Not going to go into a crazy breakdown, but the Chicago Blackhawks, I think that they might be the real deal. Chicago Bears are doing good. Blackhawks are doing good. Something about the city of Chicago right now. Cubs had a chance to do it. These teams, these franchises are looking like they're turning the corner. Bedard is one of the most special players in the NHL right now. The books are catching up to him when it comes to goal scorers and assists and all of that. So I'm just going to take the Blackhawks on the money line at home against the Seattle Kraken. It's minus 110. Going to lock that in, and I'm going to pair it with the Anaheim Ducks, who are dogs at home, one of the best home teams this year, against the Ottawa Senators. Look, Anaheim just won a ridiculous game against Boston yesterday. A game in which Morgan Geekie once again scored a goal. So Boston's not on the slate tonight, I do not believe, but Just a side note, if you've been following this podcast since the beginning of the hockey season, you know that Morgan Geekie has been a cash cow. The books have not caught up to him. Okay? But as we get back on track, half unit on this two-leg NHL moneyline parlay, it's going to be the Anaheim Ducks on the money line and the Chicago Blackhawks on the money line. Comes out to plus 299, so plus 300. Okay? So half unit on that pays out a unit and a half. Lock those in. I will see you at the counter, okay? So let's just recap the full card. I know I gave out a lot of plays today, but I want to crush it. It's Thursday. We still got we still got one more day left in the week in order to crack the books. So let's go in. Let's sweep the fucking board today, okay? Bills minus 5.5, 1 unit. Tyrell Shavers, receiver for the Buffalo Bills, over 22.5 receiving yards, 1 unit. Khalil Shakir, anytime touchdown, plus 350, half unit on the anytime touchdown. New Mexico, Nebraska college hoops, under 151 in a defensive bout. And then we have the Blackhawks and the Ducks money line parlay, plus 280 plus 299 in the NHL. Okay, so that is 3.5 units in play altogether. Good luck. I'll be back here tomorrow with more plus money plays around the sports world. As always, my name is Q from Black Sheep Betting. I hope to see you in the free chat. Get in the free chat if anything else. Okay? Lock in. See you tomorrow. Peace.